budget, and I guess at that point, the commission can go through that. But once they allocate that money, they can run through it as quick as they want to. Yes, ma'am?
I have a simple yes or no question for the commissioners.
Yes.
Or potential commissioners. Do you know about Agenda 21 in ICLEI, and are you willing to research it? Yes or no?
What was it? Agenda 21
And ICLEI.
and ICLEI. I'm not familiar with
I'm
it.
not familiar with that at all, so
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Are you
I'll be
willing to
glad
check
for
it
you
out?
to educate me
Are
on
you
that.
familiar with it?
I'm not familiar, but Google is my friend.
Yes, I am familiar with Agenda 21, not so much on equal.
What is it?
What's that? Yeah, you can't think. Anybody else have a question? William will bring you a microphone so everybody can hear you. Okay.
Raise your hand.
I'd like to know what that is, what she asked.
I'm from Oak Ridge. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
It's on.
It's on.
Closer to your mouth.
Yes, I'm from Oak Ridge, and I'm sorry I don't know your all's names, because I was told this meeting began at 7. Obviously, it began well before that. But you made a comment that to the effect that our increased property taxes have not netted more money for the county commission. Can you tell me, my ignorance, where the money has gone? Who has control over it?
What was the question?
Who has control over the county? Big pardon?
The increase in revenue taxes
Yeah.
that we've generated, where has that money gone?
Who has control?
I would defer that to one of the current county commissioners. I don't know.
Any additional funds, it is the commission's job to allocate those funds to our budget. So if they spend it, it's our commission that's spending it. If they save it, keep it in the rainy day fund, it's their fault or it's their good, one or the other.
What was the question? We were having a side conversation.
Increase in revenue we receive from taxes, sales taxes, new home taxes,
Where does it
where's
go?
that money gone? You know,
I don't know how to answer that, but I can look into that for you. If elected, that will be my job to do so.
Well, and we are all three running for commission. We are not current commissioners. And I think that may be a question that we want to ask our current commissioners. And also, like in my district particularly, both of the sitting commissioners are not seeking re-election. So we're gonna have two brand new commissioners in District 2, which is the city of Clinton, no matter what. So,
it's a good position to be in to have excess taxes coming in. That's one of the reasons I referenced the rainy day fund, is because we have grown that fund substantially over the last number of years. And that, when I pose the question, what do we do with it? It's there. Do we, drop it back to the people, to the constituents? Do we use it to better the community? But it's there. I don't know that we've spent it, because we've got quite a bit of money in the rainy day fund. Is there anybody else got a question for the commissioners? Yes, ma'am. You're right there behind you, Lee. Okay.
I'm curious about the school system. We have raised 2 kids here in Anderson County, and I'm all for education and all for supporting the school systems and funding them and everything. But I've heard for years that the school system budget isn't audited. And I'm curious, why is that? What's in place that prevents the school system from having to give account for where they spend their money?
Does anybody want to answer that?
I do not. I can't answer that question. Maybe the school board could address that with you.
I was going to see if I could get Tim to answer it.
They are audited.
They are, Vice Chair Tim Isbell, Commissioner Isbell said they are indeed audited. So. Yes, ma'am. This will be our last question, so go ahead.
Well, just a couple of comments, no question, well, maybe a little question, but to answer her, I live in Oak Ridge, and I can tell you that we have $9 to $11 million in budget, and anything over $3 million is discretionary spending. which is really not okay because they can do whatever they want with that money without city council approval. So I think for the group here, for Anderson's school, dig into that, find out, go figure, this is your job. We the people have to step up. As far as the people running for office, I want to hand this off to you because, well, I think there was something missed here. I think the concern is that if you're running for city, if you're running for the Anderson County Commissioner, then why have you not gone and accessed the public page where all this information is already available? And when are you going to do that? And why was it not done before today? Because all of this is available, this information that she brought up and asked is available on the Anderson County website.
I can answer.
Thank you very much. You know, this is a public forum, so discourse is nice. I have gone and looked. Unlike some presidential candidates, I was not given the questions prior to this event. So I did, you know, I had to learn a little bit about a lot. So I hope that answers your question. And I think the other two commissioners, or hopeful commissioners, would say the same.
You might want to add either. All right, I want to get Gary and I want to get Brian to come up here. Brian's asked me to do that. So if you guys come up, just real quick. How quickly can we get potholes fixed?
Very quickly.
In the city.
Very quickly.
Pardon?
Very quickly, potholes, just when you call in. If you don't call in, the pothole's gonna be there.
I'm gonna ask you this, Gary, but I saw a sign and it said, this is either the greatest place for political sign or the worst, because it was one of your signs right over a huge pothole on the side of the road.
Tell the rest of it.
Well, that's all I saw. Go ahead, you finish up.
The rest of it is one of my political signs in the city of Oak Ridge, and it reflected in the water of a pothole in the city of Oak Ridge. And I guess I got a little slack out of it. I like the advertisement, but it's Oak Ridge, not the county.
Okay, well, that's good. How do you go about, and I'll get to you, Brian, as well, but this, because he's the current road superintendent. How do you make decisions on what you fix, when you fix it?
A lot of it has to do with availability of funds and the what's going on in the road and in the area. Some people say, well, you need to do this road or that road. Your connector and your through roads, they'll get a little more attention than your dead end roads will. It depends on, and my budget is a little bit different from some of the others. I get so much money from gasoline tax, and we get some from local option sales tax, and we get a small type of 1 cent on the property tax that we get. And what money I get allocated, if we don't spend it, we keep it. We don't turn it back into the general fund. It's our money to keep. But most of our money comes from gasoline and fuel tax. And for some people that don't know, we've had some in office, they didn't understand this. It's simple math. I call it third grade math. But the tax on your fuel is per gallon, not per dollar per gallon. So if it's $3 a gallon, you buy gasoline and diesel. If it's $5 or $6 a gallon, they buy gasoline and diesel, but it's the same tax regardless of the price. It's per gallon. So the higher the fuel gets, an individual in a meeting a couple months back thought I was getting more money. I said, no, actually I get less because you buy less. Everyone would like to buy what they need, but some budgets don't allow it. So you get less gallons at $5 a gallon and you do it $3 a gallon. So you collect less tax. But we've been fortunate. We've saved some money. We don't go back to the budget committee and or commission. We keep our money in house. We have it for emergencies on roadways, slides, bridges, and that's just the way we operate. We do it on an annual basis. We've done it that way as long as we've been up there. And we'd be willing to put our budget and operation up against any of the other departments, not throwing rocks at nobody. Everybody needs more money. It takes more to operate now than it did last year. Fact is, diesel fuel has gone up $1.86 from 12 months ago, my cost. Gasoline's gone up more than that. No. But anyway, we use about 49,000 gallons a year last year, 50,400 and something gallons of diesel last year. When it's going up $1.68 a gallon, it makes a difference. But I can't go back to the commission and get more money. We have to plan and be conservative to take care of that.
I'll let you weigh in on this, Brian, because hearing that the budget is not necessarily set, but it's not something that you can get extra money for, how would you do more than is currently being done with the same amount of money?
Well, first I want to tell Gary, I got asked if I put that sign next to that pothole, but no, I didn't. It was sent to me, and you're famous now. I've heard that it went all over the United States, so congratulations on that. But the question again was, how would I do the same amount of work or better with the budget that they have?
Yes.
Well, first off, I would go in there and start looking at the budget and see where we have some fat in the budget, and start trying to find cheaper ways to do pothole patching, do culverts, besides digging the roads up, and because that takes more resource, more time. When you have to dig a road out to replace the culvert, there's new ways of doing that. There's equipment out there to clean them with. There's ways you can line them or pipe burst them, so as you say, and that will lessen the time that you spend on an individual culvert, and you don't have to patch the road back after that. The road's not touched. But I would go in and look at everything and start from the bottom and work my way through the budget. I've looked at his budget at a 10,000 foot level, and I don't really know. I know he's got several pots of money in there, from the codes, but I would start looking at ways to do that would be to trim the fat out of it.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're running, well, not really, but if you're running and you don't know what it is that you would cut, I mean, do you have an idea where the money's being spent that you could? I mean, that's great. Those are great ideas if you could do it. Have you looked at and identified we can do this better or more efficiently and black and white? We spent 2,000 here, we could have done it for 1,200 or anything like that.
Well, as Gary knows, when you're doing asphalt work for roads, asphalt prices are figured on the bituminous index, which is whatever the price of oil is per barrel. That's how they base the prices for your asphalt by the tons because of that. But I mean, you put me on the spot, but I mean, I've not looked deep into his budget. All I've looked at is the 10,000 foot level of what's the salaries at right now, where they're spending their money, how much they spend on asphalting this past year, and all that, And I've always been taught that if you do something right the first time, you don't have to go back and fix it again. And there's a right way to patch up potholes, and there's a wrong way to patch potholes. There's a right way to pave the road, there's a wrong way to pave the road. And if you do it right the first time, it'll last longer, and you won't have to spend as much money. Because eventually you're going to have to fix that problem. Because asphalt is only as good as what's underneath it, and that's the subgrade. And so I would go in there and start looking at it and see where the fat is. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and look at it that deep yet.
Over the last 10 years, Gary, how many times has your budget increased?
Actually, we've had some increase in the local option sales tax. The commission has, years ago when gasoline got $6 and $7 a gallon, they gave me a percentage of the local option sales tax. At that time, it was very little. They did it on a percentage. It's 18.5% of what's collected. And like you said earlier, this Amazon and those sales are up. We have received 18.5%. General fund gets the other 32%, thereabouts, and then the schools gets the 50%, and they are up right now. But when they gave it to me, this is very little, and we budget $500,000 in that particular code, and it was over that last year, about $172,000. County Commission chose one night in operations to try to cut that. We actually had enough votes to stop it. Me, the less one as a recipient, our department, say nothing about the general fund and or schools being overfunded or increased in revenue. But that's how we retain what money we do, and we have our own fund balance, like I said earlier. Out here on Ridgeview, we had an issue out there on the road as far as sliding into Clinch River. Spent almost $1 million, I believe it was $968,000. That was county money we had, and had to borrow money. We've been out of debt. When I got back up there, we got out of debt, and we've been fortunate enough to stay out of debt. We take care of our equipment. We run some old equipment. You hear people say, oh, we've got a vehicle that's, 5 years old. Well, we've got some that's probably 15 or 20. The last vehicle I drove up there had 345,000 miles on it when I got out and got a new truck. And we put our operation against any of them. We put rear ends in them, transmissions, motors, no big deal. We put a cap on them if we have an accident. Most people will part them out, send them off, buy new. New equipment's good, but you gotta be set up to operate and work on them. You've all gotta have a computer, you gotta have all this advanced equipment, you gotta have sensors, man, points and toil that make a gasoline engine run, but not these new ones. They're full of sensors, and you've gotta have somebody over at the dealership to come over here and decode it so you can get the drivers back to the dealership, get them to work on it. It's just the way it is, it's the economy. I mean, computers are that way. I'm not afraid of computers. I can get on them and do a few things, but you don't have to have them if the equipment's not set up that way. We run older equipment. We'd be glad to give you an inventory, show you what we're working with, including you, Mr. Brown. Be glad to. The money we save in other departments, whether it be some equipment or gravel or fuel, we try to put it in asphalt.
You wanna add anything?
So one thing that I would do is, there's a program out there through GSA that they have a list of equipment and stuff that is available to local and county governments. And you can get that for free because you go and you look at the list and you look on there and you see something you want. They'll send you pictures of it and everything, and you can decide whether you want it. And if it's, say it's a backhoe or something, you'll have to pay for the shipping for them to bring it to you, and you get that backhoe for free. And it could be 5 years old from the federal government, because working at the federal government as a contractor, we see that a lot. And with equipment, they'll use it for 5 years and then they're done with it, and they'll take it and put it on that list, and you can get it for free. That's one thing that I would do. And the other thing, as far as the budget, I was looking at your budget at a 10,000 foot level. In 2021, the base budget was 4.7 million, but it was amended to add a 1.4 million. So I'm not sure how to read that quite yet, and I will learn how to read that. I mean, you can laugh all you want to, but I'm gonna learn how to read it. I've been working at Y12 for over 22 years, and our budgets are different. We have what you call direct funding and indirect funding. Indirect funding is money that you can move around in the pots off what you deal with on your budget. And the direct funding is something that is, whatever it's allocated for, that's all it can be spent on. You can't move it around. So.
Do you have anything to say about the 1.2 million?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, and we've had a $1.2 million. It's come from our fund balance, in-house money. It's not new money. It's money we save. And I'm sure that the federal equipment, you're probably correct, is not worn out by no means. And we've got access to that. We bought over the years, state equipment. When they surplus it, we can go down and buy equipment. It's something we need. We buy equipment all the time on what the state calls state aid or statewide contract. Manufacturers get in contract with the state and allows municipalities to buy equipment cheaper than you can off the street, or cheaper than you can if you bid it out, and we do that all the time. It's common practice. And any money that we have, we take money out of our fund balance from year to year to make our revenues match our expenditures. And it's not new money, it's money that we've had, we've saved, they gave us, and we managed to hang on to it. It's not new money from anywhere. Excuse me. And that sign, I know exactly where it was. I put it out there, Jefferson Avenue. And there wasn't a mud hole there the day I put it out there, I guarantee you. We take the blame and credit.
Guys, thank you. I want to give Judge Layton an opportunity.
He did.
She thought I need to clarify, I'm not responsible for streets inside the municipalities, and we've got Norris, Lake City, Oak Ridge, Oliver Springs, Clinton. Those are all on different streets. They have their own public works. We're in the county, we're in the backwoods, we're in the hollers and ridges, Briceville, Beach Grove, Claxton, Scott County. We join Scott County, Union County, Morgan County, Knox County. There's a lot of backroads out here, and it's a challenging job. I enjoy it, and I enjoy trying to work it out and make things happen, take care of things, and solving the problems, and that's what it is. It's a problem. It's one phone call away from a disaster, but we appreciate the opportunity to do it.
Thank you, guys. I want to give Judge Layton an opportunity here, and then we'll wrap things up.
I can handle it from
Is
here,
Matt
it's all right.
Tuck still here?
Is Matt-
What if the two of you come up, because you're both
Yeah.
general sessions, even though you're in different, areas, why don't the two of them come up?
I was gonna let them vote.
Can we just do it from the
Yeah,
seat
that's
here?
fine.
I mean, I'm gonna conclude, thank you to two dear friends of mine.
Hold that a little closer to me.
I want to do two dear friends of mine to thank you publicly. They will both be running later in the year. They both endorsed my campaign, Congressman Chuck Flashman, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally. And during this campaign, someone said I ran against Randy McNally, and that's true. He beat my brains out when I was a Democrat in 1978. And that years gone by, we've become dear friends enough that he has enough confidence to endorse me for my reelection. So thank you for your patience tonight. Thank you for being here. This is what it's all about.
Well, I'll just keep this brief. Thank you all for coming out, everyone coming out tonight, being informed voters. I've been out, like I said to Mr. Meredith, I've knocked, tomorrow we'll knock about 3,000 doors, the total. And it is really kind of scary how uninformed a lot of people are. I mean, the number one question I get out in the county is, why am I voting for a judge in Oak Ridge? Division 2 sits in Oak Ridge. It was created by a private act back in the early 90s. I think I was 13 years old or something. They have no idea about the separation of divisions, and I could go on and on and on. But thank you all for being here tonight and being informed voters, and I hope to meet each and every one of you at some point.
Without sounding partisan or for anybody or not, I had the, I'll say the pleasure of being in Judge Layton's court recently, and this is exact words from him. He said, "Justice denied is not justice served. You guys need to get your act together. I'll come in here," it was on a Friday, "I'll come in here tonight, I'll come in here tomorrow, I'll come in here Sunday, because justice delayed is not justice served." And that impressed me, so. Again, Victoria, if you're listening, I'm not endorsing anybody, but that's the truth, that happened, and I appreciate it. As far as my part of it, I'm finished. I'll give it to Myra and let her do whatever she wants to do with it. And thank you guys for having me, I appreciate it. Anything I can do, come to the radio station. Anything more with other things I
Is Rex still here? You want to come up and just say a few words, since it's not the thing it turned, it didn't turn out to be like we thought.
I'm Rex Lynch, I'm your circuit court clerk, and just to clarify something, Myra contacted me earlier in the week and asked me would I be attending. And I said, I wouldn't be attending at this time, I wasn't planning on attending. And so about an hour ago, somebody called and said my phone was coming, so I said, I'll just go over there just in case. So I have no issues, but I'm just brief. I am the circuit court clerk. A lot of people don't know about the circuit court clerk, but it takes care of all the paperwork and all the clerk duties for the general sessions, Division 1, Division 2, circuit, criminal, and juvenile court. They call it circuit court clerk, but it's a clerk of many courts. I've got a lot of paperwork I'm responsible for. I've made a lot of improvements in the office. Not only do we take care of the paperwork, but we also have to collect all the fines and all the court costs. That's a big part of it, because if we don't collect it, then the taxpayers have to cover the expense. So the state has set up different rules and regulations where when we charge for tickets or fines, whatever, we get to keep a portion of that to cover the expense at our office. It's called like a fee office. So it's very important to me that we cover our expenses as close as we can. So collecting money is one of the most important things. I've been in this a while, doing county government, and I've never asked for a dime from the taxpayers. I think if I've got a way to generate the money, I ought to do it or cut my own budget. And I appreciate the commissioners that stated that as well. Got 20 employees. Anybody that's got any questions, I don't want to take up time because I wouldn't want to participate, but if you've got a question, you can call me anytime. Thank you for letting me speak, just quickly. Thank you.
Is there anything that I'm forgetting that we need to do or should do? Oh, do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Yeah, we'll try to have another time when you can be here with the other candidates, but if you want to introduce yourself a minute. This is, I don't know if you know this, but the northern part of our county just recently the lines got changed, and so now it has a Democrat state representative. And so there are several people who have jumped on the ballot to try to knock him out so we can have a Republican state representative up in that area. So this is Ed Butler, and I'll let him introduce himself to you. There are several more, and we'll be bringing them in too.
I'm Ed Butler. I am running for state representative for District 41, and I'm sure with the way the map's cut up, some people don't know or do know whether they're in the district or not. And so if you're not in the district, I would ask you to go ahead and plan on getting moved into the district so you can vote. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a small business owner. I'm actually a fire sprinkler contractor. We do work all over Middle Tennessee. I've got my youngest daughter with me. She's a junior in high school. I've got one son in the Navy that is serving in Aurora, Colorado. Quite proud of that. I was in the Navy, and so he has followed in my footsteps. And so she told me we're going to keep this brief, so I won't get too carried away. But I've been self-employed for about 20 years. I know there's been talk about some of the developing and some of that kind of thing tonight. I've actually built subdivisions, been a general contractor, and so I'm very familiar with the growth and what it needs to build a community in the proper way. And I heard a lot of good ideas tonight on planned development and planned growth. And I would hope as a state representative that I would be able to work in that capacity and help Anderson County along with the rest of the district, because most of the district is very rural. And there are limited opportunities for jobs and limited opportunities to keep our young people at home and not move away to some of the larger counties for jobs and so forth like that. I heard the school systems mentioned. Just a little bit about how I got into running. In 2015, my daughter that's graduated now was in the 7th grade, and there were a lot of issues with the textbook that was in her 7th grade social studies class. And so at that time, I couldn't get anything done about it. So we went to the school board, raised as much awareness, took several hundred people to the school board meeting that night and got the textbook removed from the 7th grade instruction. And with the help of the school board and some of the social studies teachers in the counties, we actually worked to rewrite some of that instruction that was not indoctrinating our 7th grade students. And so that's what got me started to run. I ran in 2016 against our current state representative. And so we have already been up in Anderson County several times in the last couple of weeks, starting to get our feelers out. The district is kind of odd the way it's cut up. So I would also ask you for your vote in August and ask you for your vote in November. And I'll stop there. Thank you.
That seat, I think, if I'm right, there will be a primary in August, and there will be 3 Republicans on it. And so only one of those will move forward to November to run against the Democrat. Thank you for coming. Our students. Another thing, I was thinking about Cindy. Would you mind to come up here and talk just a minute? Because you slip in and out, and we don't ever get to hear from you about your office that you serve in.
Well, I am not a political candidate. I work for a political candidate, and my boss is Chuck Flashman. We have presence in Oak Ridge. Our office is in the federal building, and we can help you with any federal agency that you need help with, and we're glad to do that. And so if you should ever need help with anything, you just call our office. And I am a field rep also, so I'm out of the office quite a bit. But if you call and leave a message, I will call you back within 24 hours, okay? So we do nominations for students who want to go to military academy. We do field work. We attend events when the congressman cannot be here. And so he does serve Anderson County, and he is your congressman, and so we want to do anything we can to assist you. So anytime you need anything from the congressman, just give us a call.
And you can see how much of a servant she is. When I was about 19 or so, when I was about 18, I bumped into a moving truck and it busted out the tail light. Well, I didn't know that was gonna be $400 in damages, which was over the limit of filing something. And so I didn't file it, so I ended up, my license got suspended. And I was, by that time I was a student in college in Knoxville. And so it was really gonna be a problem for me not have my license. And Congressman Fleischman was not in that office at the time, but somebody called that office for me to get my license back. And it worked beautifully. It just took a few days, and because all I had to do was file certain paperwork, and some of you know about that probably, but anyway, they can help you in so many ways you would not even think about calling there. And I'm not going to put on you to help people get their license back. I'm just trying to say that they serve. Randy McNally said. They can help you in a lot of ways. And so, Amy Cote, what's up? What were you trying to say to me? Yeah, he's running in August. And matter of fact, there's a bunch of people
jogging
running
in
in
a
August.
jug too.
You went, what's that?
Jogging in a jug, I drink that too.
Let's see, do you want to say anything, Sheriff? Would you mind?
I'm good, thank you.
Could I take some liberty that I had a conversation with him? Could I say something about us wanting to try to support a young Republicans? So on the executive committee that, everybody, if you're on the executive committee, please raise your hand. This is your executive committee for this Anderson County Republican Party. And we have a seat that's for someone who is not anybody in it right now, but they have to be between 18 and 40, but it's not, they can't just walk in here and want to get on it. They have to form a Young Republicans Club in Anderson County. They have to have at least 10 people in that age group who will get together and want to form a Republican club for young people. And then they will elect a person who would serve on our committee with us. And so I asked the sheriff earlier this week if he might be willing to help work on that. I have names already of some young people, and so hopefully we can pull together some young people who want to do that. I know the Strouds are over there, and their daughter Alex wants to, and some other people. So anyway, did you want to say anything?
No, ma'am, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else? Thank you. No? Okay. Am I forgetting anything?
I just want to say